the second and penultimate episode of Ordeal by Innocence from Sarah Phelps, adapted from the Agatha Christie novel. I raved about this last week. I enjoyed it. It took me by surprise. I felt quite involved. Matt, on the other hand, said, I don't know, I wasn't quite as invested, and I don't know. I'll watch the next one, definitely, but I don't know how compelled I was. And we don't need to review this second one as such, although it did intrigue me further. I thought there's some really interesting and strong performances throughout this, actually, from people like Bill Nye and Eleanor Tomlinson and Matthew Good, literally ringing.
Luke Treadaway.
Yeah, I thought they were all excellent, actually, and Matthew Good particularly, who I've liked in other things, but he seems to be revelling in
that wine show he does with Matthew Rhys. You love that.
Yeah, I'm still binging on that. But I thought he was really revelling in the way his character behaves and getting the
antagonist antagonist.
Really, really good. I think Alice Eve deserves an applause as well for her portrayal as the new lady.
She's the nearest thing to comic relief that this.
Yes.
I am trying to eat my grapefruit, and you're not letting me eat my grapefruit.
Eat your grapefruit then. So the reason for us talking about it again is to see really whether our viewpoints have shifted, whether Matt found it any more compelling, or whether I sort of went off the ball. I have to say, for me, I am rubbing my hands together with the thought of the next episode. It was really, really well done, really well paced. I was never bored. It was an hour, but it didn't feel like a long hour. And I think the dialogue is superb from Sarah Phelps. And then when you get these actors delivering it, and Morgan Christie just skulking around in the background, looking mysterious and evil.
In the nuclear fallout shelter that I didn't realise that was last week.
It's wonderfully atmospheric, like all of Sarah's adaptations of Christie's stuff is, and I find it really, really enjoyable. How do you feel now after episode 2?
See, I watched the first one on the laptop. This one I watched in the on the TV at my mum's in the kitchen, and I don't know if it was the different way or it's just like that it sort of was a better episode, but I really enjoyed this more than the first episode. I think I got more of who everyone was in this episode, and I don't think I really understood even that Matthew Good and Ellen Tomlinson were married in the last episode.
I didn't think you would. I didn't think you did.
No,
because you kept asking me about surnames. And
stuff. But I
thought
he was one of the kids. I think she introduced the theme more here of it being like the nuclear bomb and stuff like that, and the Luke Treadaway character who's the witness saying that he was put in a mental asylum because of his fears of working on the I can't remember the name of the project now, but it's something to do with the atomic bomb, and his sort of the way they do his fantasies of things going into nothingness and stuff like that. You always think of Agatha Christie dramas as being set at the sort of the turn of the 20th century, and I hadn't placed this as the 1950s, and the sort of, the paranoia being there as much as it was. And when Morgan Christie was disappearing, I almost felt like she was going like visiting someone in a hospital or something like that. I didn't realise it was like a nuclear fallout shelter, and this then looked at the paranoia of the Anna Chancellor character and her unflappable nature, and obviously it was one of the kids or Alice Eve trying to bring her down. And at the end of this episode, we obviously saw Matthew Good being finished off as well, and the old favourite sort of Agatha Christie moment where
of course
you see as I say, of course it's you. It's a very sort of cliche murder mystery thing.
I still like it.
I really enjoyed it, as you can tell. She makes this almost into a haunted house drama. The house itself is very eerie.
Creepy.
And there's that scene where Matthew Good is pleading with Luke Treadaway, like, you need to get me out of here. I'm afraid for my life. They'll come for me and then they'll come for you. And like the sort of the thing with the dodgy inspector and him trying to sort of frame the Anthony Boyle character for the murder because he was having an affair with his wife. And you have to, I suppose, give it to Christian Cook as well, who is very sort of like a magnetic presence in this, and he didn't have long to actually
do it.
Be prepared to be in this. He was all the scenes here were refilmed with, Ed Westwick originally, and I suppose the cast in a whole have to sort of be praised for having chemistry with a different actor, having already filmed the entire thing with Ed Westwick. And I just think it's really well done. I love the stuff where all the kids went into the woods and the Ellen Tomlinson's character Mary being like, I was the first one, you know, you all
Should have
came
been
later.
Me. Yeah, should have been me that she
And-
loved the most.
All la-di-da and full of herself, but we remember when you arrived. Crawling with fleas, wetting the bed every night.
What's that got to do with it?
Everything.
Why did you lie?
Because she's devious. And he's a freak. Having to eat your dinner with a spoon because you can't be trusted with anything sharp. Gouging holes out of your arms and legs. We all know you do it.
Shut up!
You're no better than us, Mary. You're no different.
I am different. I am better. I was first. I was chosen. The rest of you just turned up. Let's just see who's best girl now. You're no better than them. What you did. What you are. Throwing yourself at men. So cheap. Damaged goods. Shop soiled. It's no wonder Daddy's ashamed of you.
It wasn't us!
None of you should have been it! It should have just been me! On my own with her, it should have just been me! You ruined it! You ruined it! You all ruined it!
And the biggest praise I can give it is the fact that I really needed the loo halfway through and decided to...
And now you've got one less kidney.
Yeah. But, like, no, I can't leave this or, you know, I'll miss something, so, no.
What we're learning here is that Matt doesn't have Sky in the kitchen at his mum's. He couldn't have paused it. Could you have paused it?
No, not that telly, no.
Not,
It's not.
Can I just say as well, I said last week how it looks stunning. And there are scenes in this, and there was a scene where Luke Treadaway has a breakdown and it shows you sort of his world collapsing. That was like something out of Legion from last year. I mean, it was just, you don't expect that in a 9 o'clock Sunday drama, and B, an Agatha Christie adaptation. I thought it was stunning.
I wanted to praise the direction, actually, and the editing in this. Sandra Baker is the director on this, and I thought she did a superb job with all the different sort of close-ups and the sort of the eeriness of it, and the sort of point of view shots and everything, and the cinematography and the editing between all the bits and stuff like that. And it all
hangs together so well, doesn't it?
And the sort of not knowing how to who to trust, and the fact that even though Luke Treadaway is telling the truth, he's still an unreliable witness because he's got mental health issues. Yeah. You know, there's that brilliant scene where he's like breaking up all his lithium with a rock because he doesn't like that. He doesn't want to forget things, and so it's just good. And I'm really intrigued to see where the resolve and who it is. And
it has had some criticism overnight that certain tabloids and websites like the Radio Times have picked up on to do with the language. They say that Agatha Christie would never have used F off so often as they did last night. I mean, it didn't spoil my enjoyment of it, but it was an interesting choice to have that sort of language in there, but I wouldn't have really noticed it otherwise. I think we're so desensitized to it now.
If we're talking about swearing, I think Deep State actually had the more unnecessary swearing, because it felt more out of place there for some reason than it did in this sort of tense family environment in Ordeal by Innocence.
Yeah, so that is concluding Sunday at 9 on BBC One.